Hey everyone, I am iamxeracon. We're back again through our Bionicle history, and we're going to be picking up with the consequences of Nui falling asleep, and we're going to be continuing with that. So, let's begin. First thing that happened was the Great Barrier that surrounded Nui. Well, there was a crack formed in it, and so that basically that's actually how the Toa Metru left there originally. Well, no, they left through airships, but when they came back, that's how they came. And in Cardanui, there was an earthquake, and part of the land ripped off from the rest of it, which would be later known as Voyanui, and it sort of crashed and went down only to come up. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. But anyway, from that point on, the desert part of Karnui was flooded, and so then that's how it became a swamp environment. And Voyanui fell and hit the pit where all the notorious villains of the Bionicle universe were imprisoned, and it broke the prison free. And not only that, but Hydraxin was killed the uh, in the crash, in the earthquake. So that's what happened. A lot of Matoran died in the earthquake. Basically, the Toa Metru took some of the Matoran, but they can only take so many, so they promised that they would return. And, Makuta's was sealed in Protodermis. And during the time that the Toa Metru left Metru Nui, it was completely unguarded, so Rudaka and Sidorak, they came to Metru Nui, and with their Vizorak army, they completely took over during the absence. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, though, right now, so I'm going to take a step back. Um, when Makuta took over Metru Nui as Tragaduma, he brought the Dark Hunters Kreka and Nadiki with him. Now, when he unveiled himself in his, I guess, basic essence form, he absorbed Nadiki and Kreka. Now, there was also a third Dark Hunter named Eliminator there, except he didn't know anything about what was going on. And because of that incident, the Shadowed One, who was the leader of the Dark Hunters, was kind of mad at the Brotherhood, and so that sort of caused a lot of tension. And so because of that, they reached the Brotherhood Dark Hunter War, and that went on for some time, and the six Paraka were there, of course, and during one night, uh, the, the Dark Hunters were holding off a fort, and while they were there, turns out that Rudaka worked with the Brotherhood, and she gave Zaktan some information regarding that the fort actually belonged to the Brotherhood at one point, and it wasn't completely a Dark Hunter fort. And so Zaktan went exploring around, and he found out that the Brotherhood actually did have plans to cause Matsunui to fall asleep, but there was actually so much more than that. And he learned that information, and he completely wiped it out. Afterwards, he left knowing that there would be no chance the Dark Hunters would be able to hold the fort, and that's exactly what happened. The Dark Hunters lost the fort. Not only did he leave, but the other five Paraka, or soon to be Paraka, they they completely left, even though they knew that desertion would mean death. Back to the Vizarek saga, or Web of Shadows. The Toa Metru came back only to find that everything was completely different as to how they left it. There was webbing everywhere. The archives, which contained all the Rahi, had been breached, and so Rahi were just running around rampant. And everything was shattered. I mean, it looked like there was an earthquake. Buildings were collapsed. There were ruins, and they weren't sure what to make of it at first. Until then, they were ambushed by the Vizirac, and from there they were brought to the Colosseum and mutated into the Hordeca form. They they were going to be executed from there, but they were rescued by the Rahaga. And actually, I want to mention this. One of the reasons that the Brotherhood Dark Hunter War started was because the Brotherhood entrusted the Dark Hunters with Makoki stones, and the Toahaga, who are the Rahaga, but before, they broke in and stole the Makoki stones, and so the Brotherhood wanted the guards who were watching over the Makoki stones, they wanted them executed, but the Shadow One refused, and that was just one of the reasons why the war started. During the time as Hordeca, the Toa started to lose their senses. They started to become more savage, more sort of like berserkers in a way. Sort of not like Wolverine, but something like that. And so the Rahaga believed that there was a being who could help them return to their normal selves, uh, a being called Kitungu, and so they went on a quest to find that, and during that quest they battled the Vizirac, and like I said, they were looking for Kitungu, and they've even mentioned the Makoki stones in one of this animations. The Rahaga mentions a Makoki stone for the Mask of Lights, and but I only saw one of them, so I don't know too much about if they found all of them or not. But so they're battling the Vizirac. They go on all these sorts of adventures and battles, and you know, Vakama eventually though gives into his dark side and joins Rudaka as her personal assistant. And ultimately though, the other five Toa and Rahaga, they find Kitungu and they lead a final assault on the Colosseum, uh, where they're battling all the Vizirac. And Matau battles and tries to bring Vakama back to his senses, and Vakama does eventually. Rudaka abandons Sidorak, and Kitungu obliterates him easily. And then the Toa are about to face Rudaka, and they blast her with all their elemental abilities. However, it proves ineffective. All they need, though, however, is Vakama, and he fires his elemental energies at her. And even though it destroys her, she had a piece of the protodermis that sealed Makuta attached to her. And so, because of that, not only did it destroy her, but it also freed Makuta, so he is no longer sealed. And one last thing I want to point out is that right after they rescue the rest of the Matorn, they finally go to the island of Mad Nui, and they awaken all the Matorn, but the cost of doing that drains them of all their energies, and so they are finally now Turaga. And Jaller, uh, one of the Matorn, broke his mask on the way there, but Vakama gave him the mask of Toa Likan, who sacrificed himself. That's all the time we have for today, so until next time, I am iamxeracon, signing off.